Number 4. This happened just this weekend after a bucket list road trip with a friend Eric to Palm Springs, Mount Jacinto. We were now heading back home to Southern California. I fell asleep on the drive back since we've been up since 6 AM and left Palm Springs around 1:30 PM so that we could get home before rush hour traffic, and I was also really exhausted from hiking. The drive home was just a short 2-hour drive through the main freeways. Eric decided to stop by an AM/PM gas station around an hour in on our drive, and since I fell asleep, I couldn't remember from what exit we were coming from, but I think we were somewhere near Murrieta and Rainbow Sierra. I remember there was a Target, or shopping mall, near the gas station. As I was getting up, I was sitting up front, and I could hear Eric talking to someone as he was pumping gas. Apparently, a teenage transient came up from behind him, begging him for a ride, saying that he got left out by the family and just needed a lift a few blocks down the road. I couldn't clearly hear the conversation, but as I focused my vision, I could see a homeless kid had walked around the car towards the passenger side to talk to me for permission. I was locking my door when the homeless kid came around. This kid really wanted to get into the car. I didn't see much of the kid's face, but from what I could tell, he's a white kid, aged 17 to 19, had black hair, wore all black, and had a backpack and a cell phone. He strongly smelled of weed, and what I assume is piss. Eric panics. At least this is how he explained it to me, and told the kid that he would give him a lift since it was only a few blocks down. I was already giving Eric silent dagger stares as he got back into the car, and the homeless kid got into the seat behind me. The moment the homeless kid got into the car, his attitude took a turn for the worse. He started talking weird. He tried to sell us drugs or weed. He kept asking questions, directed to Eric, though enthusiastically about porn, or shooting a porno, getting girls that he can do a casting call. He also told us our car was trash, as the backseat was filled with camping gear. He asked where we went, and told him with little specifics that we came back from camping. He then tried to convince Eric about shooting a porn film. After we passed several streets and exits, every time we would ask him where to drop him off, he would mumble and say, "Keep driving," in a low tone before being all happy and excited again. The homeless kid took notice of Eric's beat headphones that happened to be around his neck, and made several attempts to trade it for weed. Now, I can tell that the homeless kid was sensing that I wasn't too happy about the situation, and apparently could see my facial expression, about to cry or scared, from the passenger side mirror, to which he asked in a dark and serious tone, "Why are you acting so weird?" He became silent from this point, and when asked again where we can drop him off, he responds with, "Keep driving." This happened several times. We asked him as we passed an exit or street. I wasn't having this no longer, and was scanning the highway and freeway of a good escape plan. I was worried this kid was a dealer, as he had a cell phone, and probably would be leading us to his cellars, and worse, get jumped. The kid could also easily point a knife around my neck from the back seat and keep us hostage. First thing I did was quietly kicked my purse underneath my seat and kept my hands down there, where he couldn't see from the side mirror. I saw a crowded exit where I can tell that there was a populated gas station, and signalled Eric to drive there, which, thank God, he did. The homeless kid asked why we were exiting there, and I lied and said we needed to grab something at the gas station. As we pulled up, I noticed there was a crowded diner next to the station and signalled Eric to park there. More people equals more witnesses, equals more help if this goes south. We told the kid he needs to get off as nicely and firmly as we could. He got annoyed, but Eric kept him distracted with the prostitution talk, which he would turn all happy about, and even say he would pay Eric 5k if he needed some bitches. And then the kid finally got out. Now, the car Eric drove was an old manual, and doesn't respond fast enough as we were leaving the parking lot. In fact, it stalled for a good 10 to 15 seconds or so before Eric can get it running, to which the homeless kid was a few feet in front of us staring at me. I was checking my backpack, which at the time was on the back seat, to check if he swiped any of my valuables. Since the car could not back out fast enough, I can see that the kid wasn't too happy with him being dropped off, and was glaring at me. He then started to contact someone on his phone. This all happened in a span of 10 minutes. which I felt was an eternity, and I seriously thought I would end up in a ditch somewhere. Unfortunately, this triggered very bad memories for me, because back in college, I was able to get away from an assault, and all my anxiety from that experience came back, 200% fold. Once me and Eric were back on the main freeway, I pretty much released my frustration on him for putting us in possible danger. Anyone who knows my friend Eric knows he's not a huge risk taker, he's never trusting of strangers, and is not very sociable, so for him to help out a hitchhiker is very unlikely of him. Eric explained to me that the homeless kid's personality was different when he first spoke to him at the gas station. The kid seemed genuinely desperate for a ride home, was about to cry, and even offered money for a lift. This seems to be a lie, as he tried to solicit money from us during the drive. Eric said if he would have known that the kid would have acted schizo, he would have never let the kid in the car. But he panicked when he thought he was about to grab or approach me. Eric at least admitted that he fucked up big time. But what pissed me off is how he kept telling me, "It's done," and acted all okay after the incident. I seriously wanted to kick his ass. Now, Eric isn't a very street smart person, so I had to tell him a huge of MOs that most robbery, assault of crazy hitchhikers or drug dealers use to lure victims. Stemming from lost kid excuse, Mr. Hyde, etc. I even pointed out if the kid had money in a cell, he could have easily called for a taxi or caught a bus. It was most likely the kid was either high or crazy, and possibly a runaway, which I hope he was, rather than a drug dealer luring us to his cellars to get jumped and robbed. And we got lucky. I even scared Eric, saying we were lucky that no other cars were following us back home, but it was another hour driving the busy freeway and back roads, so even if the crazy kid had accomplices, I hope they gave up. When we got home, it was as if fate was telling us how lucky we were, when every commercial or ad we saw on the TV showed either trailers of the movie Split, which is about a guy who kidnaps 3 girls in their own car, or ads about the fails of hitchhiking. I made sure to point this out to Eric, who sadly seems indifferent about what had happened. It's been 2 days since, and I've had nightmares about the incident and have been jumpy. For now, time will tell when I'll be fine again. I do have another road trip coming up with Eric, and hopefully more friends, but I plan to buy some pepper spray for the trip, just in case. I also told Eric that I will call the shots on where to get gas, and brush up on street smart safety procedures. Hopefully, this is a lesson for Eric not to pick up crazy hitchhikers. Just 2 quick edits real quick. I spoke to my cousin, who knows the area well, told me that the city had bad transient problem, and is known for their drug dens. He explained since the teen had a working phone with him, it's possible he was a dealer, of sorts, and was desperate for money, and was luring us to his cellars. The second edit is, as of this afternoon, my friend's car got broken into and was stolen. It took the police about 2 hours before they found the car abandoned in a Chinese restaurant. The most expensive thing that was taken was his Beat headphones.
Number 3. This story is a personal experience, and I changed the real names of places, people, etc. When this happened, I was 11 years old. I had a friend over, and I'll go ahead and call her Maya. Maya was 11 as well. Before I tell this story, I'll go ahead and give you a little background. Maya and I have been friends, at the point, for 2 or 3 years. We text a lot and hang out often, so this friend is a trusted friend. One night at 8 PM, we were walking outside. It was winter, so it was already dark. My mum was at my grandma's house and my dad was at home. My dad said we could walk around, as long as we stayed close. This surprised me because my parents are pretty strict. I just think he didn't want to say no, because I had Maya over. On our way out the door, I made sure to give him a big hug. I will reveal my state, but that only, since it goes along with the story. I live in Indiana, which most of us Hoosiers call the weather here bipolar. Anyways, it was actually not that cold for a night out in the dead winter. It was also surprising, due to the fact that it was freezing yesterday, which goes along with why we call the weather here bipolar. We were walking around, still close to my house and having a load of fun. We were goofing around, and this is where things start to get weird. There was a guy out walking his dog. I see him around all the time, but he's a mean looking guy and always stays to himself, so nobody really trusted him. But I will say that I lived in a safe area. Anyways, he was a pretty strange man. The type of man that gives you the chills. The type of man who looks like he's about to kill you. But what seemed even more strange on this particular night was the fact that he was wearing all black. "Hey, I'll call myself Leah," said Maya. "That guy is following us." At first I thought she was messing with me, and I just laughed. But when I looked back, sure enough, there was that creepy man following us. I was scared, but I let my brain handle the situation. "Just because he's on the same sidewalk as us doesn't mean he's following us," I said quietly. "He's creeping me out. Let's go back." No. I was not going to ruin this moment. I never get this lucky. "Let's just cross the street." She did not hesitate to cross over with me. We soon forgot about the man and just kept goofing around. But then I noticed something out the corner of my eye. I looked behind us and my heart dropped. He was there. He was following us alright. But this time, he was way too close for comfort. "Maya?" I didn't have to finish the statement before she realised him too. "We need to go back," I said. So we crossed the street again and started walking in the direction of my house. Thoughts flooded my mind. What if he follows me to my house? My dad will never let me go out again. But those thoughts were gone when Maya tapped me on my shoulder. "Leah?" He was behind us again. Crap. When he noticed that we noticed him, he dropped his dog on the floor and sprinted towards us. "Run!" Maya and I screamed at the same time. We ran so fast, and I swear to you that I have never ran so fast in my life. Adrenaline is an angel. It saved our lives. We ended up turning the corner so fast that he didn't see us turn and continued to go straight. We ran and slowed down when my house was in very close sight. I stopped completely to catch my breath. I was an asthmatic child and still have asthma. When we finally reached my house, we shut and locked the door and threw our shoes off. We ran upstairs to my room and went over what had just happened. "We could have died," said Maya. I nodded. We could have. Thank God that old man didn't have good eyesight. When my mum returned a bit later, we told her what happened. Now, it doesn't really bother me, but it scared me for a long time, so I couldn't go outside past 6 PM. My sister now jokes about the situation, but I assure her that I may not have returned home that night, which shuts her up. I continue to see this man walking around with his dog, but we don't exactly meet. So, old creepy man with bad eyesight and a dog? Let's never, ever meet again. Just a quick note. I will add this in the story. We did, however, report the situation to the cops. The police told me there was nothing they could do, so I decided not to put it in the story the first time. They probably didn't believe me, so, they said he may not have even been following me. But it was obvious that he was. Number 2. I was about 10 or 12 at the time, and I was shopping with my mum at Walmart. We were getting quite a lot of food for dinner, and we were doing all the stuff that normal people do while at the store. We were getting some frozen food. I believe it was pizza or something. And I saw this old man, in either his 30s or 40s, standing next to us. I didn't pay much attention to him, as he was just a customer like us. About an hour later, we were done shopping and we went into the small self-checkouts. We scanned the items and paid. Apparently my mum noticed something, because she said, "Stay close to me," when we were putting stuff in the car. We walked outside and my mum looked back and rushed to find the car. It was rather cold outside, but I didn't care because I was wondering why we were hurrying. As we looked around for the car, a car drove by, kind of slowly, but my mum didn't notice it. I saw the car but didn't think anything of it. Finally, I broke the ice and said, "Did someone die or something?" She nervously laughed and said no. We finally found the car after a few minutes of walking. I hopped into the car because my mum wouldn't let me help, and she told me to stay in the car while she put the cart away. She locked the doors and I buckled up, still wondering what was going on. Once she got inside, I asked her again what had happened. This dude was following us around and kept driving near us while we were finding the car. Luckily, he didn't see us get in. She also said he was in all the aisles that we were in. I was in shock. Someone was following us, and I didn't know. I saw him getting into his car. He was trying to act natural, like he didn't just try to follow us. But he didn't see me. I kept looking behind me as we went home. I was so paranoid, and I hoped he didn't follow us home. The weird thing was, he kept looking at me while we were in the store. He must have thought my mum was a teen mum with a child. I never saw that man again. Well, at least I think so. I forgot what he looked like anyway. Anyways, creepy old man stalking us in Walmart? Let's not meet. Number 1. I was 19 years old at the time, had been out of school for a year, and the year had not been a good one. I had opted out of college and had all been able to find a restaurant job in the tiny town where I grew up, and was still living with my parents. I felt like a loser. My closest friends had either gone away to college, or gotten jobs in the nearest major city and had moved away. The following year, a relative of my dad's helped me get a job with a company. It didn't pay much, but had great benefits, and I had a future and chance of advancement. I got an almost new car, and I was on my way, excited about life again. To celebrate, I was spending the weekend with 2 best friends, who were already living in the city, in this great apartment, where a lot of the college kids also lived. We were planning to go out to this club. I had had a painful breakup right out of high school, and because of the hours at the restaurant I worked, I had not been able to get out and meet the guys, and hang out with my friends at all. Anyway, my 2 friends and I, all 3 of us are female, were planning on a night of partying. I was hoping to dance, socialise, etc. The first thing we did after work was go buy new outfits to wear out, come back to their apartment, where we did hair and makeup, and I was ready to go. My friend Gillian said she wasn't feeling well, and decided to stay in, so the other friend and I took off for a night of fun. We had my new car, and we went to this club that was very popular in the city at the time. My friend told me that it was usually pretty crowded, that a lot of the college kids, and people our age from the surrounding counties, and from the general area hung out there, and the music was great. That Friday night, I guess something was off, because there wasn't many people in there. But there was a group of baseball players who were in town to play the local university. Since we were too young to drink, we ordered a Coke and basically drank it all night. Neither of us had much money. I danced with some of the baseball players, but most of them were gathered up around the bar, hitting on the 2 female bartenders, and when they found out that I didn't do one-night stands, they weren't interested in me. My friend, however, and this one guy, one of the baseball players, had kind of attached himself to her, and they basically danced the whole evening. At some point, the club became emptier and emptier, as the baseball players and a few other people in there gradually left. At this point, I'm bored to tears, disappointed in how the night was going, and wishing my friend would come on, so we could either go to another club, or go back to the apartment. But I think I sat for hours. Finally, it's around 1 AM and the club was closing a little early, because there were so few people in there. My friend informed me that we were giving this baseball player, I'll call him Bill, a ride back to the motel where he was staying. I knew the motel. It was completely on the opposite side of the city where the apartment was located. I wasn't happy, but it had been a while since I got to hang with my friends, so I wasn't going to refuse. Bill went outside while my friend used the restroom. I came out a few seconds behind him and he was on the phone. He was telling someone on the phone that he would go back to the motel shortly. For a brief second, a little red flag went up inside me, but it was gone before I had time to think. I just wanted to take him to the motel and get it over with. Well, the three of us drove there. He sat in the front seat with us. We got there and he doesn't get out right away, like you would think. After all, it was like 2 AM at this point. He kept sitting in the car and making casual conversation with my friend. I was sitting there thinking, get out already. But once again, I'm a nice person and didn't want to get on my friend's nerves. But even she was starting to get restless, because it just didn't make sense for him to keep sitting there talking about practically nothing. Well, us two small girls didn't have the car doors locked. All of a sudden, there was this huge guy beside my car, and another at the passenger's side. Bill, the guy we'd given a ride to, gets out of the car and casually walked away. These two guys started pulling us out of the car. I had dealt with issues with the guys I'd grown up with, but once I got the point across that no means no, they backed off, and I felt like that was the situation here, so I wasn't afraid. My friend and I were sort of laughing at first. We thought they were joking around. We both grabbed hold of the steering wheel, and we were hanging on for dear life. And I was trying to explain to the guy why we weren't getting out of the car, and he reaches in, grabs my middle finger, and bends it back painfully, and I let go of the steering wheel. He pulls me out of the car, and the other guy had my friend, and I didn't really see what was going on with her, as she was behind me, but I could sort of hear her struggling with him. The guy that had me by the arm starts dragging me across the parking lot towards the stairs. He was about 6'2", built, athletic, and he was actually good looking. I had noticed him earlier at the club, and I was wondering what was going on, but I was still not accepting the fact that I was actually in danger. All the while he's dragging me, first across the parking lot, then up the stairs. I'm steadily talking to him about why it's not a good idea for me to go to his room, and anything else I could say to try to get him to let go of me. I was pulling my arm away from his, but he had me in a death grip. I was 5'3.5" and 115 pounds. The whole time I'm talking to him and struggling with him, he never says a word. He was stone cold silent. He dragged me to the open door of a motel room and shoved me inside, and there were baseball players everywhere. Some were in the bed sleeping, some were on the floor sleeping, and some were just sitting around watching TV. The guys who were awake looked up at me curiously. I was trying not to step on any of them, because it seemed as if they were literally everywhere. This guy dragged me over to the bed nearest to the restroom, and made some guy who was sleeping get up, and shoved me onto the empty space. At this point, I knew I was really in trouble. Some guy came to the door, and I stood up, and when I did, he basically body slammed me backwards onto the bed. He went to the door and was just standing outside on the balcony, talking to the person, and I decided to take my chance and run. One of the guys sitting on the floor grabbed the bottom of my dress. I presume he was trying to stop me, but he didn't get a good grip and I was able to keep going. My friend met me at the door. She was coming from the opposite direction. We ran right by him. The guy who dragged me up the stairs, and the guy who was talking to her. We took those concrete stairs in sort of a dressy, but not real big heels, shoes. I was so scared of falling, but I took 2 steps at a time. I glanced behind me, and 3 guys were after us, and I don't know how we managed to outrun them. Neither of us were particularly athletic, but we jumped into my car, locked the doors, and took off. They were very close to catching us. When we spun out of the parking lot, they chased the car. We got back to my friend's apartment and we were sort of freaked out and sort of in disbelief and shock that this situation actually happened. I felt really nervous and almost nauseous and didn't feel like I could even go to sleep, even though it is now very early hours of the morning. We decided we would go to an all-night fast food joint and drink coffee and just talk about what happened. I had gone into the other room to grab my jacket, because even though it was May, it had gotten sort of cold, and we heard a knock at the door. My friend at some point had told Bill where our apartment was, We stayed inside, and really quiet, while 3 of the guys banged on the door and yelled for us to open it. Finally, someone else in the complex yelled if they didn't be quiet, they would call the cops. So that's when these guys left. We were too scared to go outside to get a coffee at that point. We did discuss calling the cops, but we rationalised that this town loves their sports, and they would probably take their word over ours. I know now, in retrospect, we should have reported it to the university, but we just didn't think about it at the time. That was a bad choice, I know. So, anyway, creepy baseball players? Let's not meet. Well, anyway guys, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed them, please like, share and subscribe if you haven't already. If you have any stories of your own which you would like to have shared, please make sure to contact me, link in the description, and you may be featured in a future video. Well, anyway, I hope to see you soon, and I'll speak to you later.